Are you connected to Jesus? I mean, really plugged in? Well, how can you tell? Well, Jesus said, "Stick with me." Good morning and welcome to 755 Live. For about 5 minutes, you'll hear all about easy to remember soundbite versions of what Jesus said. And the point is to help you experience life to the fullest, the Jesus way. Today's Jesus Said from our Bible plan at bible.today.church comes from John 15, verse 4. But we're going to read more of that chapter for some context today, reading from the New Living Translation, beginning with John 15, 1. I am the true grapevine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch of mine that doesn't produce fruit, and he prunes the branches that do bear fruit, so they will produce even more. You have already been pruned and purified by the message I have given you. Remain in me, and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me. Now, before we go on, this is the main verse that is the inspiration for the soundbite. Jesus said, "Stick with me." Verse 5. Yes, I am the vine. You are the branches. Those who remain in me and I in them will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Anyone who does not remain in me is thrown away like a useless branch and withers. Such branches are gathered into a pile to be burned. But if you remain in me and my words remain in you, you may ask for anything you want, and it will be granted. When you produce much fruit, you are my true disciples. This brings great glory to my Father. Now, this is after what we call the Last Supper. It's some of the last teaching that Jesus gave right before his crucifixion. And basically what he's saying here is if you don't have fruit, you're not really connected to him. Jesus clearly stated that he alone is the vine. And that's an analogy for the source for those who believe in him. We are attached to him, the vine, by faith, but also for a purpose. And that purpose is to bear fruit. And what happens if we don't? Well, the Father cuts us off. Now, did you get that? I mean, Jesus talked about being cut off, a branch withering, and then being thrown into the fire if it doesn't bear fruit. You see, bearing fruit isn't optional. It's a direct result of being connected with Jesus. No fruit, no connection. But when you're connected, you can't help but bear fruit. And so that brings the question, are you really connected? Have you ever, hopefully not intentionally, but have you ever grabbed hold of an extension cord that was frayed and had some wires exposed and felt the power of 120 volts of electricity? Now, I've never seen anyone come in contact with that kind of power without having an immediate and noticeable reaction. Now, can you just consider for a minute that we are connected to Jesus, the true vine, connected to the very power that created the universe? How can we be plugged into that kind of power and there be no change? Well, truthfully, you can't. You know, somehow we have this crazy idea in our modern world that we can be connected to Jesus and not bear fruit, that we can be connected to Jesus and not change, just continue life as normal. But Jesus said, if you remain in me and my words remain in you, then you will produce fruit. And when you produce much fruit, Jesus said that you are truly his disciples. And that brings great glory to the Father. So what does that fruit look like? Well, it looks like Jesus' very words and his life. When we obey what he says, Jesus produces the fruit in our lives. Disciples make disciples. Disciples bear spiritual fruit. From Galatians 5, 22 and 23, we're told that the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. That's the kind of fruit a true disciple bears. And if you stick with Jesus, you will stick with love. Jesus said, "Stick with me." How can you put that into action today? Thank you so much for listening. If this is meaningful to you, it really means a lot when you like it, when you share it, when you comment. I really appreciate you, no matter when you watch this. I hope that you have an amazing day, and I hope this time together has helped you live life to the fullest, the Jesus way. And remember, follow Jesus today. Love first.